Welcome back to Jay's Smokehouse and the History of Cannabis series, Marijuana in the 1900s, Part 2. In 1930, Harry J. Anslinger is appointed the Commissioner of the Federal Bureau of Narcotics. Now, Anslinger is considered the architect of prohibition on marijuana in America. He seems to be one of the first to drop the words cannabis and hemp and start adopting marijuana instead. This is also where Anslinger starts linking marijuana use to insanity and violent acts. In 1933, marijuana really starts to become a target of government control, and William Randolph Hearst plays a big role in denouncing marijuana. Hearst owned quite a few newspapers, especially on the southern border states. At this time, many outlandish stories were used to link violence to marijuana, and many of these outlandish stories come from Hearst's own newspapers. At this time, he also begins to drop cannabis and hemp and adopt marijuana, just like Anslinger. And again, a big reason for this is because cannabis and hemp were associated with medication. And so they wanted to use marijuana, which was associated with Mexican immigrants, and therefore they were using it to link violent acts to marijuana and the immigrants. But there's also something else very suspicious with Hearst. It's reported that he had investments in logging and paper companies. Why this is significant is that hemp companies would have been seen as competition to paper and logging companies. And then in 1936, again, the Federal Bureau of Narcotics, Anslinger, they put out a report named Traffic in Opium and Other Dangerous Drugs. In this report, they headline it with the dangers of marijuana. In this report, it says that marijuana has some very drastic mental and moral changes on the mind. The curious thing is this report doesn't even give actual numbers or even an estimated number. What it states is that there's widespread use of marijuana. That's all it says. Anslinger himself, even at this time, maintained that any and all drug use was considered a plot of civil corruption. It was an enemy seeking to destroy any and all communities. And curiously, this is also when morphine and other opium-derived drugs really hit the market and become popular. Not to mention, this is also where aspirin becomes popular. And again, in 1936, we come to Reefer Madness. Most people have heard the title Reefer Madness. This movie was actually first financed by a very small church group. It was intended to scare the ever-living crap out of the parents who watched it to keep their kids from using marijuana. However, soon after the film was shot, it was actually purchased by Dwayne Esper. He is described as a notorious exploitation film maestro. However, he purchased this black and white film and then also added in a bunch of salacious pictures throughout the film. The original name of the film was Tell Your Children. However, Dwayne Esper changed the name to Reefer Madness, apparently to make it more exotic. Now let's go ahead and review. Number 1. In 1930, Harry J. Anslinger is appointed the Commissioner of the Federal Bureau of Narcotics. Number 2. William Randolph Hearst plays a major role in denouncing marijuana with his newspapers. Number 3. In 1936, the Bureau of Narcotics urges federal action on marijuana. Number 4. In 1936 also, this is where we see the rise of opium-derived drugs, morphine, and aspirin. Number 5. Also in 1936, the exploitation film Reefer Madness is released. If you enjoyed this video, or you're intrigued at all, please leave a like and a comment. Let me know what you think. And also, don't forget to subscribe and hit that bell button so you can stay up to date with videos coming out in the future. And now, as always, Jay is going to go smoke a J.